It's to get people to like look at your food and say, wow, okay, there it is. That is what I should be looking at. So today's photography topic is going to be the color wheel and color theory and how that pertains to food photography. I know for me, when I style food, I kind of just bring together everything that I have and I kind of mix and match, but haphazardly, until I find something that I like. But many times when you're styling anyways, you have, the color of the food, the plates, you have the texture of, the linen, and then you have all of the props. The more that there is, the messier it can feel and the messier it can get. And you're like, I wish that there were some rules that would help me out in this particular instance. And so basic color theory is really what I wanted to discuss with you all today. It does feel very technical and it does feel very scary, which is why I wanted to do it. Let's go over, the basic terms, the basic theories, and how to just apply that to our food photography. We'll go into 4 or maybe 5 different color theories, and then we'll style to those theories so that you all can see, okay, like whether this works, whether it doesn't, what do you like, what do you not. As with any rule, it's always nice to learn kind of the guidelines, or what is the essentially the theory behind what works. And then after you understand it, you can put it into practice, you can form your own rules and kind of learn to break the rules. But it's always important, I think, to know the rules first and then break away. So I think what might be useful for you all as well, and I find it quite useful for me, is it's not sponsored, but I'll put the link down below, is I have this rotating color wheel where you'll point to the color that you are working with, and then it will show you the different colors that work with that color. You can always download the color wheel onto your phone or look it up on the computer, but I think sometimes, like when I'm styling and I'm not in front of anything digital, or I just don't really want to look at my phone, sometimes it's nice, like as I'm cooking, to be like, okay, well, I have noodles that are slightly orange, what would work well with those? So this is a really neat one. It's really small and it's only a couple dollars, so I will put that link down below for you guys as well. Let's start off by defining what is hue, tint, shade, and tone. Okay, so the first color scheme that we're going to discuss is one that I see most often, and that is the complementary color scheme. And essentially what it is you're pairing 2 different colors on the opposite sides of the color wheel. And what this really does is that heavy contrast makes those 2 colors really pop. So when you're thinking about these color schemes, you have to ask yourself, okay, why am I doing this? What is this for? And as with anything with photography, it's really to highlight your subject. For example, you could have something like a greenish background, and then when you go across to the color wheel, greens work really well with reds, greens work really well with violet. And so if you have something with a green backdrop and your food happens to be, red, you can really make that pop. It's pretty much to bring notice to the food, and it's to get people to like look at your food and say, wow, okay, there it is. That is what I should be looking at. So the next scheme that we're going to talk about is the split complementary. So basically, when you look at a color wheel, your opposite is going to be your complementary color, but these 2 colors on the left and right sides of your complementary color are going to be the colors that you would use for split complementary. So for those who like geometry, it is very much like an isosceles triangle when you're drawing it. Now this type of color scheme is very much contrast as well because they're on the opposite sides of the color wheel, but it might just not be so harsh and, you know, right opposite of one another. So now we're going to talk about the monochromatic color scheme, and this is the first color scheme where instead of it being contrast, it's really about harmony. And what monochromatic is, I'm sure you all can guess, is it's just one color, but you are using the different shades, tints, and tones within that photograph. I think what you will all see today as well though is, although color theory works really well on, I think, 2D surfaces, when it comes to color and translating that over to food, you know, food is very organic. It has its own texture, it has its own shine and gloss. Sometimes not everything transfers through, and that's when you kind of have to play around with the rules a little bit and adjust accordingly as you go. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed this video on color theory, and definitely if you have more to add, feel free to share it in the community down below. And as usual, if you have any more suggestions that you would like to see in terms of food photography and food photography videos, definitely let me know down below. All right, I will see you all again next time. Bye.